Okay, we're live. Today is Friday, November 8th, 2019. I'm sorry we have to do it old school again with the phone because Larry tried to get in through StreamYard, the link, and we could get him in, but you couldn't hear a word he said. So he's being blocked somehow, some way, and I don't know why. But I've got him on speakerphone and the volume is as high as it can get, and I turn this fan off, and we have 12 people here already, so take it away, Larry. You ready, Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Waiting on you.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, folks. It is Friday. And sorry about yesterday. Not much better today. But just keep getting kicked in the teeth and trying to bounce back. Let me tell you what's coming. Well, first off, let me say this. By now, most all of you are probably tired of hearing the same old talking points from both sides. I believe if I hear Sean Hannity one more time on top of a guest he has on go through this quid pro quo Joe routine where if you have 6 hours, he tells the whole story over and over and over again of Joe and his son, Joe Biden. And it's just getting old to me, just getting old. And then the other thing that's getting old, I'm sure to most all of you, is the constant parade of Jordan and Ms. etc., that group coming out. And everybody explaining and telling you that this can't be done this way, that this is all wrong the way they're doing it. And they're right. It's just getting old to be told over and over and over and over and over again. It is.
So how do we break it?
Well, you don't break it. Number one, you realize that it takes 3.78 to 4.25 times for a person to hear something until they've heard it one time. And this is having to do with commercials, of course. So when you're driving down the road and you hear a shoe commercial come on, a stoplight stops you. Anyway, it takes you fully have to hear 3.78 to 4.25 times until you actually comprehend what the commercial says one time. So this frequency is not necessarily bad. I will admit that Sean Hannity going back over the Joe Biden stuff's getting old. But reiterating over and over and over to the people that what Schiff's doing is wrong, it doesn't hurt to keep bringing that up. It doesn't. It's going to come in very, very handy soon. And what do I mean by that? Next week, as I am told, and it's still committed to it, I want to see it before they do it. Before I'm solid they're going to do it, but they intend, or they are saying they intend to go forward with the impeachment public hearing.
So what does that mean?
Well, that's the problem. I don't know what it means. We've got a whole bank of attorneys, Jay Sekulow, Rudy Giuliani, and probably 25 others that are all exploring different things that it could mean. Now, Does it mean it's going to be a full and open hearing of this impeachment stuff? I don't know. If it is, what does that mean? That means, well, they'll bring in the whistleblower, they will bring in the witnesses, and then the Republicans will get to question the witnesses. President Trump's attorneys will get to cross-examine their witnesses. That's what an open hearing is supposed to be. But I'm hearing rumblings, as I'm sure all of you are, that they're saying that there could be testimony from Elvis Presley, and it would have to be approved by Adam Schiff. So if anybody bringing any witness in or wanting to question any witness has to be run through Adam Schiff, then folks, it's not a full and complete open hearing in the House. It is just a continuance of this crazy, crooked shift in the Democrats and what they're doing. Now, y'all understand what I've just told you. Let me repeat it so that I'm not guilty of misleading you. We are told that there's going to be an open hearing on the full House. All right? A full open hearing with the whole House.
So does that infer that the hearing is going to be in the House, in the Capitol building?
Yeah, that's what it is inferring. A full and open congressional hearing is in the floor of the House. Now, if that's the case, that means that the Republicans would be able to cross-examine any witnesses brought forward into the hearing. They would be able to bring witnesses to the hearing. And they would be able to, one sort of biggie is they would be able to bring in the so-called whistleblower and question the whistleblower in front of the American people. That is a full and open hearing. However, what I'm hearing, however, is that before a Republican can question or cross-examine a witness, Adam Schiff, and the Democrats bring forward, they have to be approved by Adam Schiff. They can bring forward their counter witnesses. They can bring them forward. But before they're allowed to testify, they have to be approved by Adam Schiff. I don't need to tell y'all that doesn't sound like a full and open hearing to me. It doesn't. I got a news flash for you. It's not. It's not. But I have been involved in information. I'm going to put it that way. I've been involved with information that in the past couple of days, the president has, I'm trying to be careful and say what I can say, folks. So if I'm stuttering a little bit, please forgive me. It's getting this said right. The president, many of you may know, called, well, the president had meetings with his people. And from those meetings, they called Mitch McConnell. how can it be an offensive plan when Schiff's controlling the hearing, Schiff's doing this, and Schiff's, all of the stuff I just told you. Well, President Trump, as I have told y'all before, needs to get out of, and has in some cases gotten out of the defensive posture and has taken the offense. Well, we raised the ante. The ante is now back in the hands of the president. And he got Mitch McConnell in, and they are working out the plan, but the gist of the plan is let the House do its crooked hearing. Let it do it. Let it go on. Let Schiff rig it. Let all of the Democrats vote to impeach. Let them all show their colors. Let them all come out full tilt. Get their 15-second sound bites, their 30-second sound bites. You bet. Let them come on. Get it. Get it on. And then Mitch McConnell will have the Senate trial. At present, we are trying to confirm, I say we, they are trying to confirm the solidarity of the majority of Republicans in the Senate.
And you have to know here, Larry, from the comments.
We're going to be making them pretty soon.
Hang on, from the comments here, we've got a lot of questioning whether the Senate can be trusted on that.
Just know that at this point, folks, at this point, the Senate is being canvassed. The Senate Republicans are being canvassed. And if there are weak places where we cannot trust the Republican senators,
like Romney.
You just identified our issue. That's where we come in. We will be brought in to make sure through force multiplication that any teetering Republican senator needs to have it explained to him how the cow eats cabbage. That's our job. That will be our job. But in this offensive plan, what we're going to do is drag it out. Drag it out. No, it's got to get 2/3 of the Senate to vote to put President Trump out of office. 2/3. We stand well right now with those that have been canvassed thus far. Now, we're standing, you can't trust a damn one of them. But where we're standing thus far, we may not have every Republican with us, but I think it's going to be hard for some Republicans to go against President Trump. Sufficient enough to have him removed from office and get 2/3 vote in the Senate. Trust me.
Well, I would think, I would think, Larry, that somebody even like Mitch McConnell in Kentucky better be thinking twice about next year's election if he's going to be going against.
Well, there will be other types of incentives used to get these Republicans to do what's right. And once again, that's where I come in. I haven't told y'all about it in a long time. But it's amazing what my magic mailbox brings me. And it's the raw intelligence files. Almost all of the members of Congress and
And folks, that's why we use Larry's name when we call them, because of that last comment.
Now, to make this an offensive play, he's going to drag starting, and it's going to blow the Democrats' mind. It's going to blow their mind because they think if they impeach him in the House, that Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are just going to want to just blow right into the Senate impeachment trial. They're going to want to get that done so they can get it out of the way before this campaign. That's what the Democrats think. That's what they want. We're not going to give it to them. We're going to make the impeachment trial for President Trump part of his campaign. Yes, sir. Y'all don't know it yet, but the evidence of the coup I have told y'all about, matter of fact, I kind of tickled this lawyer for the whistleblower to come out. I think the president brought out that it came out in 2017 that there was going to be a coup, right? Well, folks, that lawyer was pretty accurate, except he was after me. I had already said that there would be a coup, if you'll recall, any of you that were here then.
I will say, Larry, you said it the second week of July, the week before Trump was got the nomination for president. So you've been saying it for 3.5 years.
Oh, I've known it was coming. It had to come. And it's time. It's time we fight it now. And with the evidence that you have not seen, but I have, the evidence you don't know about, but I do. A Senate trial is going to bring it all out. And if it is handled properly, to which I believe it will be, if it's handled properly, and I'm talking about the Senate trial to remove President Trump, it can put the finger on every player in the coup. It can put the finger on the deep state in ways that we couldn't imagine a month ago. It's going to take some of the pressure of saving this nation off of Attorney General Barr and Durham. It's going to be hell on the Democrats. It is going to be hell on them. And although the mainstream media is not going to carry it, probably, and although we don't know yet how trustworthy the Republicans in the Senate are or will be, I assure you, this is the long sought, I guess you could say this is the smoking gun we have been searching for. And we now have it. We now have it. And oddly enough, the smoking gun you are going to start hearing very soon about many different people. The smoking gun is going to be the Senate trial to remove President Trump. It can do more damage to the deep state quicker, more effectively than the Attorney General and Special Counsel Durham could do in 10 years. how do you feel about that? And this is hot off the presses. Now, they may have already released that McConnell and Trump talk. He did summons McConnell. They may have talked about, they may have even, I think they were going to today, release that they did talk about dragging out the impeachment trial today. And I don't think anybody has told you the intricacies of the plan. And yes, I can tell you the intricacies of the plan. Yes, I can. And what about the Democrats hearing it? Don't I run the risk of blowing it? No. No. Every Democrat or traitorous Republican that ends up hearing this, are you best shot? You're best shot because in the rules of the House, historical rules of the House, you can do whatever you want to do. But when it goes to the Senate, we're back under the purview of jurisprudence. We're back under the purview of the Constitution. And all of these cheap tricks you've been pulling ship to Nadler and Pelosi and all these cheap tricks, you run out of, unless you come up with something else to impeach him over or something else to do. But no, it doesn't run the risk of blowing it so the Democrats know what's coming. I want these sons of bitches to know what's coming. I want them to be upset like President Trump and his family has been upset. I want them upset like we, the American people, have been upset since this crap started. I want them to feel every minute of it.
Hey folks, make sure you share this video, please. We need everybody to hear it.
And I want them to think about what it's going to be like when at least half of this nation is going to see the corruption. You know, corruption is not a good word anymore, not for what we're seeing. Corruption is not strong enough. I at least want our 50% to see the pure evil that is being conducted inside our government and what's horrible has been done in our name.
Mm.
And I felt better so I could present this to you a little better than I have.
And Larry, we've got a troll in here saying that you died a long time ago. How do we know you're here today and this isn't a pre-recorded thing? I mean, what he's talking about, for crying out loud, is current news. You didn't know this. You haven't heard this on the news yet. This is today. And if our connection had worked through StreamYard, we could have put him on video. I see him on video as we get used.
This person is saying, they're saying I should have been dead. So anyway, don't pay attention. It's crazy.
No, and I'm just, you know, if we could have gotten the actual connection, you could have gone on video just for a second. So, but we're being blocked from having Larry with us. So his phone doesn't have enough juice to let him do video, or he would. So this is the best we can get. And we as a group decided you guys would rather see me responding than, and no, James Smith, he is not a ghost. He is the real person. For crying out loud, listen to what he's talking about. So people decided that, you know, they'd rather see me responding to what he said than for me to be just a blank screen too. And you just watch the circle turn round and round. So, yep.
So anybody have any questions? get to it.
Yeah, is it possible for the Republicans to go into court over improprieties?
What?
The quote is it possible for the Republicans to start court cases over the invest improprieties? I'm not sure what that meant, but that's one of the Jameses asking that.
I'm wondering if he's talking about the investigation in improprieties.
That could be.
Is conducting, and the answer is no. Remember, these are House historical rules, James. Bottom line, Schiff can do all of this stuff that he wants to do. He literally can make the rules up as he goes. Historically, they don't do that, but that's just historically. Constitutionally, Adam Schiff, Nadler, Pelosi, the crew, they're not down by law. Cannot do the things that they're doing. They're not.
And the same person, James, same James says, impeachment is a delaying tactic to steal the spotlight from the Durham report. Republicans are lacking street fighter debaters. They're Southern gentlemen appearing on mainstream media, unable to deliver a knockout punch. And I think you've kind of addressed that with what you just said.
Yeah, one of the problems the Republicans have is Republicans claim to represent the moral Christian conservative community. So therefore, they have to maintain, quote unquote, a public image of being a moral Christian conservative person. And they're not. They're not. Not anymore. The Democrats are. They're not. But they have to enforce that image. And so that is something that's hung around their neck that keeps them from playing some of the dirt games that the Democrats do. So just know it. Just know we're at a disadvantage there. But I will tell you this, it don't always work out at the timetable we want. But the truth does win out in the end. Sometimes it's way too long away to do anything about it, but truth does work its way to the surface. What else you got?
What do you think of Jordan going to the Intel Committee, and is the Intel Committee involved in the impeachment process? That's Rindy.
Yes, they are. And he's going to monitor the activities there.
James said, that's a good thing. James said this whole thing, this is the other James, this whole thing is a disgrace, a complete hoax and sham. It's a complete illegal witch hunt. Trump shouldn't even dignify it with a response. What could the Democrats do if Trump said pound sand? Well, that's where you have already told us that then he is guilty of a crime with obstruction of Congress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did see something last night on, what's her name?
Laura Ingraham?
Laura Ingraham, and she had Dershowitz on. And Dershowitz did a good job. He said that he looked all the way going back in the wall, and there was no such thing as giving up whistleblowing anonymity. None of that existed. But he also said that it was we're in dangerous territory now, and I agree with him. That's what's scary. We're in dangerous territory because we're starting to make up laws. That's what Schiff's doing. They're making up laws. Collusion. There is no law of collusion. You can't break the law of collusion because there is no law called collusion. There has to be a statutory law for you to break. Or you didn't break the law. portion of Congress. Now, if that's the case, then their subpoena trap is all a hoax. But you've got to understand everything they've done is a hoax, y'all. It's meaningless. It's meaningless unless we let it mean something. You got it? It's kind of like the old story, the emperor has no clothes. If you're afraid to admit that the emperor has no clothes, that this special thread doesn't really exist, and he's in front of you naked as a jaybird, but you're afraid to admit it, well then, he's got clothes on. He's got clothes on. If you won't admit it, if you don't acknowledge, if you think you'd be punished if you said he's got clothes, so you say he's got clothes, then he's got clothes. That's what shift's doing. That's what I've been telling y'all. That's how they've been merging rules, historical rules, and law. They keep using historical rules. Now they're breaking and violating historical rules, creating new rules. Figure this one out. They're creating new rules, but they're constructing them and making them sound like they are laws, statutory laws. Therefore, the president's breaking them. He can't break a law that doesn't exist. And just because the mighty Adam Schiff and the Pelosi's and the Democrats, just because they get together and say, no, there's a law, we say it, so therefore it is, that is not true. That is not true. And that's what they've been doing. But the best way to flush all of this out, the best way to flush it all out is to, by God, get it on in the Senate. Get it on in the Senate. And in the Senate, you've got to abide by law.
Okay, next question. If we take down the swamp, how will it help get our Constitution back?
Well, when you take down the swamp, what you do is the first thing is you reinstate the three branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial. And by that, I'm trying to tell you one of the first things you've got to do to get our Constitution back is to eliminate these federal judges that are party loyalists, progressives, communists, whatever they are. We must have judges, actually folks, at all levels of the judicial system. We must have judges that value, honor, and obey the Constitution. Well, you see the Supreme Court even. Well, let's go up one. The federal appellate courts. You see, they're doing the same thing Schiff's doing. When the president implemented an executive order, these federal appellate Ninth Circuit judges, you know what they do? They just make up an interpretation of the Constitution and overthrow what his executive decision was. They just make it up. They make it up. Same thing Schiff's doing, just make it up. And therefore, when they make it up, guess what? It's a law until it gets to the Supreme Court, and there you hope it gets struck down. What if?
what about the USMCA? It seems to, I think it was Ruth, that it allows the UN rule of law.
Does not. It does not. If you're talking about the one President Trump is trying to get Pelosi and them to approve, it does not. Whoever is starting that rumor ought to be shot. There is no way President Trump, of all people on planet Earth, I assure you, President Trump will never let the United Nations supersede our Constitution. It never happened. Never happened. Now, you were talking about Obama. Yeah, I believe it.
I've heard several alt media people very, very concerned about the USMCA and where Trump stands on it. And I am getting so tired of the number of alternative media people who are bashing the president, saying that he's lying. I mean, on and on and on with what they're doing. It's really upsetting.
You know, folks, I don't know what this alt media is. I don't know who they are. I really don't. But I'll bet you $100 to a biscuit. If you win, I'll give you $100. If I win, you give me just a biscuit. But those alt media people don't have a clue what is in that USMCA trade thing. They don't know what's in it. You know how I know they don't know what's in it? Yeah. You know how I know they don't know what's in it?
Well, I'm sure you know what's in it. And so if they're disagreeing, then they obviously don't know.
The reason I know they don't know, any of these people out there telling y'all what's in that agreement, they have read simply summaries of working documents. The thing hasn't been drafted in total yet. You idiot, whoever's putting that out. Think about it. They're still working on it. Now he's got his plan. Trump's got his plan, but they're still negotiating the total agreement. So it's not done. So nobody has seen what it actually says yet, because it's not done yet.
So they're really afraid of what Pelosi's going to do with it.
I don't give two shits in a tent with what Pelosi does with anything anymore. You know, this is what I'm talking about. If we don't stop letting them get by with telling us what's law, what's illegal, then they win. Nancy Pelosi does not have the power, folks. Leave my lips. She doesn't have the power to stop that. She doesn't. Oh, well, she cannot let it be brought on the House floor. That's right, she can. She can. The president can special order.
How does that work?
He signs special order, presidential executive order.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And yes, it will go to the Ninth Circuit, and yes, they will put a stay on his executive order. But the other thing the president has the power to do is he has the power to go fast track to the Supreme Court and force Nancy Pelosi to bring that bill up. Did y'all know that?
No.
You see, if it's like somebody's telling you, if it's like somebody's telling, and it's like we've been believing for a long time, well, if McConnell don't put it on the floor or Pelosi another one for you. Since when did the Constitution say that appellate judges, federal appellate judges, shall make all laws? When did they say that? When did the Constitution say that? I haven't read that part in the Constitution, have y'all?
Mm.
Well, if you want to believe that a Ninth Circuit federal judge has that power, which they have exerted time and time again, then you know what? Then why we got a Congress? Why we got a president? Why we got a Congress? What are we here for? Let's just go to a federal judge and say, can we do this? That's the final word. Our founding fathers were smarter than that, folks. They were smarter than that. They could see these things actually happening. And that's why they created the Supreme Court. So when and if it ever becomes an imperative that Congress must go up or down on something, and they refuse to go up or down on something due to political polarization or whatever the reason, then the channel is available to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, therefore, will rule in accordance with the Constitution. And if these people are right, don't you see? If these people are right, think this through, please. All of you, start using your head. Think this through. If Congress, according to the Constitution, shall create all laws, right? Anybody have a problem with that?
No, that's what.
You got a problem that Congress shall create all laws, right?
Yep.
You don't have a problem with that, do you?
No.
You don't have a problem with that, right?
Not at all. That's what it says.
All right. Then we don't have a country then, because if Congress can't, if Congress can't create laws for any reason, if Congress can't create laws for any reason, then guess what, folks? We're done. We're done. There'll be no laws. The only laws that will exist are the ones that exist now. There can never be any other laws. It might not be a bad thing. Matter of fact, we ought to get rid of what we got now, but I'm just saying. When we get to that point, our whole form of government's gone. Gone. And that's what the progressives are using as their mainstay strategy to transform our country. They're claiming, we can't do anything anymore. Our Constitution doesn't work anymore, so therefore we need to transform our form of government to something more contemporary, something that will work in today's environment. And you're seeing that kind of system at work with shift in them right now, if that's what you want.
Yeah, communism will just create more and more and more of this nonsense we're seeing, where laws don't exist that they're making up, and so they're crying obstruction of tooth fairy, and how can they get away with that? And I think you're saying they can't get away with it, and there's a strategy to see that they don't.
There is a strategy that's going to stop them. As far as impeaching or outing President Trump, yes, there is a strategy that's going to be solid. It's going to be a humdinger.
All right, we've got somebody, Golden Runway's frustrated and claims, and you don't get mad, Larry. I know you've addressed this over and over and over again, but I haven't seen this name in the chat in a long time. So Trump should declare war on these traitors and command the Marines to start rounding up the seditionists. What is he waiting for? The crimes have already been committed. Where are the arrests? Take a big...
We've addressed this so many times that it seems ridiculous to be redundant again, but I will. Listen, President Trump cannot order the Marines to go around and summarily just arrest people. If he did, we would not be a what you're saying. Now, I don't like the way our government's being played and being manipulated. And you've got all of these. See, this is one of the reasons our founding fathers had two classes of people they didn't want ever in government. One was witches and the other was barristers or attorneys. You're seeing these legal people that just are everywhere in Washington. You're seeing them pull every sleazy, nasty, slick little legal trick they can to manipulate us and to manipulate our form of government. That's what's going on. We got to get rid of them. And that's what President Trump's vowed to do. But he can't. He can't just go and summarily just have somebody arrested. He can't do it. What else?
Concern about the primaries. Are some of the Republicans not running for office again? And how do we get a new candidate in? Will we have alternative candidates to the rhinos?
What? I didn't quite understand.
Oh, there's a question about the election, with the members of the House and the Senate. The important race is the primary race, where we want to get these long-standing congressmen out of office. But you can't do that unless there's a viable candidate running in the primary. So do you think we're going to have viable candidates so that we can vote them out and not have to vote for a Democrat to get rid of them?
Well, you and I don't know. Each one of you listening should answer that. You've got to find a candidate or be a candidate in your district. We can't. You've got to find candidates. That's incumbent on you and the people in your district. I can't believe there are not viable candidates out there. I can't believe that good people that we would probably want to see in Congress, they're not going to expose themselves to this kind of trash, to be raked through the coals the way they'll be. But you still got to look. You've got to find people to run. What else you got?
Do you think Jeff Sessions will win? Will run again, and will he win? He's going in tonight. Now, I have been talking to somebody in Alabama who, has said that he's concerned that people don't they think Sessions has had his turn, and there are issues with him that he, in his opinion, Sessions should not run again. Roy Moore should not try to run again. Yes, they do need somebody who will take out Doug Jones, but he doesn't think either one of those are viable candidates.
Well, let me tell you, Jeff Sessions is running again. I know that for a fact. And whether he'll win, I just don't know. He was for Alabama for years a good senator. He was. And I'm afraid he's been tarred and feathered over something that he had to do that, in his honest opinion, he had to do. Everybody's mad at him, including the president. They wanted him to go after Comey to do all these things. Sessions had to recuse himself, folks. He had to. Jeff Sessions had to recuse himself because he worked actively on Trump's campaign. So therefore, he could not act as an independent arbiter in the case against the president. He couldn't. He could not. So therefore, by law, he's forced to recuse himself. Now, for that, he's taken it on the chin. I don't know how much damage that's done. I don't know if he can get reelected or not. I just don't know. What else?
Don asked, how does Shifty get away with making law?
He doesn't get away with making laws. He gets away with making up rules, making his own rules. He gets away with that. But don't misconstrue that to mean he's getting away with making his own law. He's not. He's not making any laws. He's making his own rules. And under the impeachment guidelines, he has the right to do so as ranking member.
So Ruth asked, when did treason become excusable and ignore no matter who commits it?
Well, Ruth, it hasn't. But the environment we are in today is making it incredibly impossible to prosecute it. Let me tell you something that has been announced now, thank God, at least on Fox somewhere. George Soros and another big billionaire, gazillionaire guy, they've gone together and they're going all over the country. Now listen to me, y'all. They're going all over the country and they're financing and running down ballot races. If this doesn't sound familiar to Arkansas, Soros and them are going around all over the country and they're getting prosecutors elected, like local prosecutors and sheriffs. Why? Why? Remember what I told you about Arkansas? Those of us with Bill, we could do anything we wanted to. Anything we wanted to do. Because nobody can do anything to us. If you want to get somebody prosecuted for doing something wrong to you, you have to go to your local prosecutor and get them to take the case. Well, if the Stevenses control the prosecutor, Stevens would tell the prosecutor, don't do that case, don't do this case, don't do that case, prosecute that guy, but don't prosecute that. That's power. Soros, if you need proof that they're setting up for this socialist, communist government, look at what he's already doing. He's already going around and filling in the next part of the puzzle. He's going around and getting prosecutors and sheriffs all over this country elected. And they will do what he demands of them. That should scare you to your knees. If you want proof, there it is. There it is.
Well, that happened in Virginia. I saw somebody complaining really hard about that this morning.
Well, shouldn't complain about it. You need to beat them. Beat them. Whatever the conservatives in Virginia, why did they stay on? Why did, if every conservative in Virginia had gone out and voted the other night, there would not have been a sweep in Virginia. It wouldn't have been. But a lot of conservatives didn't go out and vote.
And the problem now is they can gerrymander the state like they did in Maryland now that the Democrats have everything. There's nobody to stop it.
Yeah. What other question you got?
What about, Rindy asked about, and she had talked to me earlier about this. the New York Attorney General has now fined Trump $2 million for misuse of campaign funds.
Well, it was a person on his campaign that they claim misused campaign funds, not Trump.
So, but is Trump then responsible still for paying the $2 million fine?
His campaign is, yes.
Sounds like just more silly stuff against him, but I mean, what do I know?
Well, I have not been invited to get involved in that, so I don't know about it.
Okay. And somebody's frustrated that nothing happens to the elites, but we've talked about that. That's the whole issue of communism, with the rigged courts and the down ballot stuff that Soros just pulled off in Virginia.
Let me tell y'all something. If y'all are tired, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of this political elitist, social elitist group, if you're sick and tired of it, so sick and tired of it, you're being sick, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. If you really are, then do something about it. Do something. Do something about it.
And Joe, yes, we need viable Republican primary candidates. So start using your voice to help get somebody in before it's too late to sign up.
You know, every one of you, I've told you this before, but I'm going to tell you again. Y'all have been trained. You may not know it. If you've been a part of this program for any good length of time, you are trained. Believe it or not, you know more about politics, the dirt, the sleaze, the truth, than 90% of the political pundits that claim to be political pundits. You know this now. It's a part of you now. But if you don't use it, if you're not using it every day, then we're in trouble. We are in trouble.
And I've heard that Soros owned the machines in Virginia that were used. I heard several reports
I
that.
don't know that that's true.
Okay.
And I don't want to put it out there unless we can authenticate that. I've heard crap like that forever.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it, y'all. We're not going to do that kind of stuff. Dear God, we got enough spooky stuff. We don't have to take stuff like that if it's not true. And it's not true until we can prove it.
And I've heard people complaining that nothing's being done about election or voter fraud. We know that you're concerned about that, like we all are. But folks, remember, Trump has a team working on it, but he's working on it because of the time involved to get something set in place. He's working on it for 2020, not 2018, not 2019, but 2020. He had to have enough time to get things done to be able to make a difference next time.
And I'm telling you guys, he's got some of the most brilliant people in that arena working on it this time. Now, I'm not saying it's going to catch everything, or they're going to catch everything, but they've got some mighty brilliant people on the team looking into election fraud. Believe me. By the way, got one more thing I got to tell you. We will know tomorrow, apparently, if Bloomberg
Wouldn't that be New York, or doesn't have to be?
No, no, some state that the deadline for filing to run for president runs out tomorrow.
Now, I
What
heard,
happens if Bloomberg gets in? Folks, that shakes the Democratic field of candidates to their knees. You've got about 9 or 10 Democratic candidates for president, that while they probably don't much believe in God, they're doing some serious praying tonight to that God they don't believe in, and begging him to keep Bloomberg out of the race. If he gets in, he will do awesome damage to the Democratic Party. He will.
now, what do you mean by that?
Well, he will run immediately. Everybody but probably 3, maybe 4, will have to go to the House.
We'll have to what?
Stated if he runs,
Hold on, he'll run 3 or 4 what?
make them go to the House, make them go home, quit. They'll have to quit. They don't have the money to compete with him. They don't. And when he gets in the race, those candidates I'm talking about, their funding will just stop totally. Nobody's going to back them running against Bloomberg. Nobody. Now, he is going to rain all over Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren, I've heard it said by somebody, I don't know who said it, but when she gave her $52 trillion cost to her healthcare for all thing, they said that was the longest suicide note in history. And it was political suicide. Now, she has failed every person that has interviewed her. She has said, when they asked, is healthcare cost going to go down? She said, healthcare costs are going to go down for everybody, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then they all asked the killer question, but are the taxes going up? Now, to give you a little inside Washington speak, she says, if you listen to her, she'll never answer that. Will your taxes, middle class taxes go up? She'll never answer that. She says it's not about tax, it's about the total cost. So what she is saying is, these are my words. I'm not doing a parody. These are my words. My words. What she actually means when she says the healthcare costs are going to go down and everybody benefits with the cost. She is saying that your cost for your healthcare is going to go down. That yes, your taxes are going to go up to pay for it, but when you take your taxes and the fact that all healthcare went down, then you come out ahead. You got it? She's saying that your taxes are going to go up, but when you take the taxes going up versus how far down the healthcare costs are going to be, it's going to benefit everybody. But nobody believes that, you see, because everybody knows, as within any government program, when you say the cost for this government massive program, the costs are going to go down to the people, they never do. So what you'll be left with is the cost will stay the same or go higher, and your taxes will come up as well. She's toast. She is toast, and she's extremely toast when Bloomberg gets in.
Yeah.
Now, Bernie Sanders with the Bloomberg in the race. The problem he has, yes, they support him, but they don't always turn out and vote. The problem Bloomberg does cause, and I will say this honestly, believe it or not, I believe Bloomberg would be the most serious candidate, the potential candidate problem for President Trump. I mean, he will be the harder candidate. I'm not saying Trump can't beat him, but he'll be harder than all the rest of the Democrats put together. So watch for Bloomberg to see if he files tomorrow. Now, with all of that, you know, if you're tired of these people always winning, then stop them. Help me stop them. I'm in a place where I can help us in a big, big way. But I need y'all to support me. You're all I got. You are all I have. So you did it yesterday and the day before, so I'm asking you to do it again today and this weekend. I know it's hard. I know it's tough. Damn, it's tough on me doing what I'm doing. But we got them if we stick together and if we can make this thing work. Now, once again, today I've told you stuff I probably shouldn't have told you. I shouldn't force you to wait until you hear it come out on the enemy. But I did. I want y'all to know things ahead of time. I want you to help me. I'm in a position to help us now better than ever before. But I need your help. Yeah, and I'm going to bug out.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay, folks, I'm asking you to get in this game with me for all the marbles. It's for everything you believe in. It's for everything you care about. Don't let them take it away from us. Don't let them.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right.
Everybody have a good weekend, but please help. All right. You got it, man.
Thanks, Larry. I'm sorry about every once in a while. I'm struggling to scroll up and down to make sure I haven't missed your questions. And I know that creates noise that is a problem when we have to use my speakerphone, my old phone. I mean, this is a 20-year-old phone. I don't have money to buy a new phone. And it's the best I can do. And I'm really sorry that it's not adequate. But please know that Larry, the fastest way to get money to Larry is his PayPal account, which is nicholslive@aol.com. And if you go to the website, now why didn't that show up? I don't know what happened. I'm going to type it in again, nicholslive@aol.com. Oh, I see what happened. The new comments aren't showing up. If you go to the website, nicholslive.com, there is a link directly to his PayPal account. There is his mailing address for where he lives in Arkansas. You can mail cash only. If you need to use a check, under the donate page at nicholslive.com is a cell phone number. You can send a text and we can work something out. I can help you figure out whether we can use Walmart or Western Union or mail a check to me. I have a bank account at Bank of America that I use for passing money through to him. I put money in myself to make his pay for his phone. The only phone he has is the cell phone he uses that I pay for, and it's a little bit of a struggle to do that right now. And I know there are a lot of people who are complaining about what they see that Trump is not doing, but for crying out loud, folks, do you realize with all the pressure he's under, what he's trying to do, and there's a lot of what Obama did that he has undone, and I know it hasn't been everything. There are a couple things that I'm concerned about too, but that doesn't mean it won't be done. And you know, we have to trust what is going on. Listen to the things that Larry tells you here. Listen to what he knows. He gets, you know, if you read 28 Years to Nowhere and his autobiography that he wrote about when he left the employment of the Clintons and separated from Bill and started fighting him immediately, and they have been, you know, at odds. Larry went from a very wealthy man to destitute condition because of what he has done in fighting for our freedom. So he needs our help. If you listen to what he has to tell you, you know there is a way. He knows this because he doesn't, the only time he says this is my opinion or this is where I get the information, the only time he'll say that is if he doesn't have proof. If he tells you something, he has proof that it is true. Unlike other people, you know, other people will say, I've got secret sources. Well, I know Larry can't reveal his sources, but if you listen to who he talks about, you've got a good idea. And there are people who send things to, you know, as he said in his book, he has what he calls a magic mailbox. And people put things in, people who are whistleblowers that are afraid for their own lives will put things in. And Larry can use that information, and he will take it before a judge to make sure that it is viable and acceptable in a court of law, and that Barr and Durham can actually use it. Sorry, folks, I'm looking at some of the comments that are being made in the chat, and I'm sorry if you listen to this after the fact, you can't see what's going on, but there's discussion of what Obama did. So thank you for the $20 that just got sent to Larry. Folks, when his voice sounds like this, he's in dire straits. And he's lost 2 funders this week that were doing a lot to keep him going. So we're looking at the weekend. So he's not going to be back until Monday. So we're looking at keeping him going tonight, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning before he's back here. So there really is a need. He's going to need several $1,000s if possible over the weekend. We need somebody who could step up and do that. There have been, you know, we've got some issues trying to get funding to him, trying to find somebody new who can take up the slack for those of us that have done a lot and have bottomed out and can't do anymore. I mean, we've got some, you guys just really would not believe what some people have done. Like I said yesterday, there have been people who have given everything to help keep Larry going. And, you know, I mean, we're talking even did that a couple years ago. And there are a lot of people who are in dire straits themselves because of understanding what Larry does and given as much and more than they should have to keep Larry in the fight. And he's going to need some help this weekend because, you know, we had a couple people that were really going over and above what any of the rest of us can do. And they've tapped out, you know, they've maxed out their credit cards. They've done as much as they can and they can't do anymore. So just know under the merchandise page on the website, anything and everything that you give there is, or that you buy there, one reason that the bumper stickers were donated. So anything you spend to buy bumper stickers, the money goes straight to Larry. The book, I paid for the books to be printed. So, and all the money is going straight to Larry. If you buy the book, he gets all the proceeds. Now, as far as the t-shirts go, we have to buy those. And so the t-shirt order, he gets a cut on that, which is why it's so expensive. But remember with the t-shirts, and I've got the t-shirt here, the Never Socialism. Sorry, I can't figure out which way is which because it always goes backwards. So that's the back. And here's the front, but it's smaller where the pocket would be. The t-shirt fabric is the best quality fabric made in America. The ink that is used to print the logo is the top quality ink possible, and it's expensive. It is not a cheap t-shirt. It is a very high quality t-shirt. Somebody in the chat earlier today said we need to have somebody ask me about Never Socialism. Well, this is so eye-catching that people who have worn the t-shirt usually do have people ask about it. So this is a great t-shirt to help do what we need done. I know I heard what Lisa Haven said today about the USMCA. There is concern about what's going on, but what Lisa didn't realize is that the law has not been written yet. There is grave concern about what Pelosi's going to come up with. And there are people who are worried about what it says. I don't have money to pay extra, James, to buy any other phone and anything more. I can't afford that. I just can't do it. So if somebody wants to go and take care of that every month for me and send me the phone, that will work. I don't know if we have to go with this system, this little speaker, this little microphone. Right now what I'm doing for Larry, if we can't get him straight into the computer with StreamYard, which happens every once in a while, but if I have to use this system, I've got the volume on my landline turned as high as I can get it. I've got the volume on my computer turned as high as I can get it. And buying a new phone may not necessarily give us any louder a stream for you guys. When he can get in straight into StreamYard with me, the volume is great and it's much easier to hear him. Now, don't forget, folks, he's been on the phone since 6 o'clock this morning. I have no idea who he talks to. I don't know. But you can hear who he talks about. So he's got some way to have some information that is given to him about what's going on. So he's working extremely hard. He has friends in high places around the world. He told you the other day that, he's friends with Netanyahu and has been for many, many years, decades, frankly, decades. And so he's been trying to do everything he can to work to stop the nonsense that is going on. Yes, I've heard the issues about Field McConnell. I tried to contact Field McConnell about Larry, and we remember there's big issues in Arkansas with the pedophilia that Field McConnell works on, and Larry tried to talk the state rep out of what she was trying to do because Larry knew it would cost her life, and Larry did his best to try and protect her, and there wasn't a way to protect her, and she's gone. So we can only guess what happened with Field. So I'm not going to speculate here because Larry says don't speculate. So I'm not going to. So yeah, it's a little easier to hear me. I realize the number of hours he works till 11:30 at night. Some nights he's working till 2 and 4 in the morning. Last Thursday he started at 6 o'clock Thursday morning and went till after our program Friday afternoon, straight through. I have no idea what he's doing, what he's working on. I hear my news with you here, just like you do. So, but if he's got this kind of information, then you realize he really has the connections that he claims to have. So, folks, do whatever you can to help Larry this weekend. He's been so sick, and to get him, when he gets in that condition, I mean, he gets so close to not being able to keep doing what he's doing. We have no idea how close he gets. I mean, I don't know either, except, you know, if I get a text message that he's low, then I've been with him when he has come right to death's door and bounced back. And when he's got the money to pay for his medication, he will bounce back. So he needs as much help as you can give him. So with that, that's enough. I've got to get to the bank. So God bless you. Somebody please help and match what Randy did. Do what you can, folks. I know we did a great job of raising money yesterday, but he's in dire straits with, you could hear it in his voice. And when he gets behind the 8 ball, like I have told you guys before, you know, I've got a family member who has bad migraines, and if she can get her medication, which is hard to finance, and can stay ahead of it, then I'll talk to you tonight on the conference call, James, about the phone. When somebody's in a lot of pain, if they can stay ahead of the pain, they can keep functioning. If the pain gets ahead of them, it takes longer. It takes much longer to come back. So do what you can, folks. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Have a good weekend, and God bless you.